their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Mumbai. Yes, it's me. And no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Mumbai. Yes, it's me.
Here at Kuwait Motor Town for race 2 out of 3 of round 3 of 2023. It's going to be a really exciting battle here at Kuwait Motor Town. And after yesterday's P Super, it's a glorious sunny day again. We had a huge storm last night, which finally pushed that weather system well away from the race circuit. We can see it today. We certainly couldn't yesterday. And now we can see it for what it is. A fabulous, brand new Cathedral of Speed. Hello everybody, Jake Sanson with you once again here at Kuwait Motor Town, this 20-corner, 5.6-kilometre race circuit. It is a fabulous challenge for all of the competitors out there. They really have been enjoying the speed and the spectacle. And this is going to give us another splendid day at the races. 2 races to go in round 3. And after yesterday's encounter, when Yuga Chukwu grabbed his 4th win out of 7, the American is very hard to stop. One man might be able to do that from pole position for both race 2 and race 3, the Australian James Wharton. It's going to be a tough battle, no matter what you call it. And it's definitely going to be quite tricky to fend off the American, who really has been exceptionally strong all the way through this campaign. He's been a very strong competitor for the Prema team. And now we are gearing ourselves up ready for the second race of the F4 UAE Championship, organised by Top Speed and promoted by the Emirates Motorsport Organisation, the EMSO. So, after a very different type of race circuit layout yesterday, let's look back over what happened. Yesterday was murky and gloomy as a storm was blowing into town, and it was a very tricky situation for everybody. But right from the start, Yuga Chukwu meant business. James Wharton did his best to outdrag him to the first couple of corners, and even had the slipstream on the run down to turn 2. But Chukwu would not be thwarted. He held on to the lead. Just one casualty at turn 2 this time. The new boy, Kai Daryanani, unfortunately spinning and stalling, bringing out the safety car. There were battles right from the restart though, as Chukwu had to hold on for dear life in front of James Wharton, with Noah Stromsted and Valerio Rinicella giving chase behind. The man on the move, though, was Tuka Tarpanen. He made this beautiful lunge on Arvid Lindblad, and Zachary David saw a gap and an opportunity. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Lindblad and David connected, both men out of the race. Lindblad would recover, but rejoin a little bit later on, and then only park it at turn 2. Zachary David didn't last much longer. Stromsted versus Rinicella was mighty to watch, and it was the Italian that emerged victorious. Unfortunately, Emilia de Geus then had an off, triggering another safety car, but on the restart, Tuka Tarpanen was mighty, first picking off Rinicella, and then making the same bit just a corner later on Noah Stromsted. A mighty charge to the podium, but up front, James Wharton threw everything he could at the American Yuga Chukwu, but he couldn't get him. Chukwu got the victory in front of the Mumbai Falcons pair in 2nd and 3rd. It's now 4 wins out of 7 for the man from New York, who used his head to get it done. He's going to have to do that again today, though, from 2nd on the starting grid on the outside of the grid. And it's worth knowing that James Walton in pole position is motivated. Feline Wang is with him.
Hey James, Ugo beat you yesterday. Can you hold him back today?
Yeah, definitely. I think if I do my race, get a good start, anything can happen, and just about limiting my mistakes and getting the job done.
Have a good race. 那刚刚我问到 James 呢，他昨天呢是跟 Ugo 有非常激烈的一个竞争，但是 Ugo 最后获胜。他今天呢从头位发车，能不能保持一个领先的优势呢？他说到他要做好一个非常好的起步之后呢，来保证自己的领先地位。Back to you guys.
Thanks, Feline. And I tell you what, James Walton really does need to get one over on Yugo Ugachukwu in this race. This one marks the halfway point in the campaign, and he is currently at a deficit to Yugo Ugachukwu to the grand tune of 42 points. He really needs to bounce back, but this man has no pressure going into this race whatsoever. He can make a mistake, he can get it wrong, he can score no points, and he'll still have a decent lead, whether James Walton wins the race or not. The American is in prime position here, 42 points clear, with 4 wins out of 7. And he's the man giving chase in both of today's races, exactly where he wants to be. Brinichella is going to be there with Keanu El-Azari up at the sharp end. The fastest laps from yesterday, meaning that we've got some very interesting grid positions going into race 2. It's definitely going to be an intriguing battle from the off, because obviously in the F4 UAE Championship, the starting grid for this race is based on the fastest laps from yesterday. So Walton, Ugachukwu and Tarpanen is the top 3. In 4th position, would you believe, is Alexander Bolduev, who had a problem in the initial start and then decided to pit and put fresh tyres on, and he's now 4th on the grid. So Bolduev could spring a really interesting surprise here from 4th on the starting position. Valentin Klus and Will McIntyre are on the 3rd row. There is Arvid Lindblad, who has to start right from the back of the field, having had a miserable day yesterday. And he will be there right on the tail end, so he's got to charge his way forward. This is not an easy situation at all for Arvid Lindblad to deal with. But Valentin Klus and Will McIntyre on the 3rd row of the grid. The 4th row of the grid sees the Australian Noah Lyle alongside Bianca Bustamante, 2 drivers who really put in some great laps yesterday and are able to get themselves up into the top 10. Valerio Brinichella is 9th, and Keanu El-Azari is 10th. There is Alex Bolduev. Unfamiliar territory for him today. 4th position, right up at the hunt. So this is going to be a tricky position for him to start from, but he gets to give chase on the run to turn 2. So this could be a brilliant opportunity for the XL Motorsport driver. There is Valentin Klus, one of the shining stars of 2023 for me. The PHM driver has always been there on the verge of greatness. He could get a victory before the end of this year. He has all the potential, all the ingredients. He just needs it to come together in the oven. So there is Will McIntyre, another driver who's made good strides through this 2023 campaign, using the F4 UAE Championship to prepare for his upcoming British campaign. Love the banter these drivers get to have with their mechanics and their engineers over time. And Will McIntyre is one of the friendliest Scotsmen you're ever going to see in motor racing. Yes, mate, you're on telly. Will's a fabulous character. He really loves his motorsport. Full of beans and full of energy. He's a real star for the future. Watch out for him. Noah Lyle and Bianca Bustamante get to be on the 4th row, as we mentioned. Brinichella and El-Azari. Then Hamda Al-Kubaisi and Jesse Carrasquedo on the 6th row, ahead of Sebastian Murray, another driver making big strides up the grid in terms of his race lap times. And then Hyu Yamakoshi alongside him. There's some big names down the field, though. After a very tricky day at the office yesterday, we've got some big names down the order. Arvid Lindblad, Zachary David, James Pazik, all towards the tail end, having to try and make up some progress. Even the likes of Nicola Lacorte, Teo Fiernal, Federico Rifai and Dion Gauda did not have a good day at the office yesterday, so they've also got to charge their way through. Rounding out the top 20, 2 men that could have a very interesting day here. Jack Beaton from Australia, and beside him is Akshay Bora, who actually drove his way to 12th position yesterday, despite having the mother of all fevers. He was very unwell indeed during the day yesterday. He actually lost 3 kilograms from Monday to Tuesday. It was that bad. But fortunately, he had the decision. It was up to him whether to race. The team were not sure. They said, it's up to you. Do you really want to do this? Akshay said, yes, I can do it. He was right. He went all the way to 12th from a much lower position on the starting grid. Feisty and motivated. Akshay Bora is just getting started for me. So the 1 minute board has gone at the front of the grid. The 15-second board will go shortly after that as the grid is cleared. There's a lot of drivers out of position, a lot of drivers in the top 10 getting an opportunity to run for the victory for the first time. Bolduev, McIntyre, Bustamante, Al-Azari. This is a great chance for them to push for a podium. They might even be able to come up for the win. That's the beauty of this place. You never quite know what's going to happen next. Even in the races we had at the weekend just gone at Kuwait Motor Town, you were never quite sure who was going to have the edge. And it's going to be like that again today. Yes, the sunshine has come back. Yes, the visibility is amazing, but it's ice cold on the grid. So for the second race of round 3, the drivers head off on the formation lap. Let's talk you through the starting grid. Pole position is James Wharton. Alongside him is the American Yugo Ugachukwu for Prema. Then it's Tuka Tarpanen, the Tiger, alongside Alex Bolduev. Welcome to the front end, mate. Valentin Klus and Will McIntyre will share the third row of the starting grid. And then behind them, it's Noah Lyle and Bianca Bustamante. What can they do from the fourth row? Valeria Rinicella and Chiara Al-Azari round out the top 10. Both could push for the podium. Hamda Al-Kubaisi back where she belongs at the front. Jessica Tashkedo beside her. 13th on the grid, Sebastian Murray climbing up the order. Hiyu Yamakoshi right beside him. Row 8 sees Alex Abkasava in a strong position. Noah Stromstad will want revenge for yesterday. Kanato Lee and Georgi Janavsky. And then on row 10 of the grid to round out the top 20, Jack Beaton and Akshay Bora. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. Then it's Victoria Blochina. A solid progress made for her alongside Rafael Narak, doing well. Nicola Lacorte and Teofil Nao. Watch them charge their way through the field today. Federico Rifai alongside Rishon Rajiv. 2 drivers with a lot to prove. Dion Gauda and Jacob Bergmeister sharing row 14 of the grid. Rounding out the top 30, 2 men who want to make a comeback. James Bezique and Matteo Quintarelli. Theo Jensen is beside Lina Bula, and that's row 16. Row 17 sees Luciano Morano alongside Zachary David, who won here in race 3 last weekend. Emilia de Reus and Flavio Olivieri, the Dutch and the Italian. Then Arvid Lindblad right from the back row alongside Kai Darianani. This will be a fascinating challenge for all of our competitors. But there's definitely going to be a handful who have a chance to go for a win, where before it might not have been possible. People are tuning into this far and wide around the circuit and around the world as well. A very big opportunity to see the next generation of superstars, the ones that will grace the Indianapolis 500, the Le Mans 24 Hours, the Bathurst 24. The Macau Grand Prix, the Grand Prix de Pau, and who knows, maybe even one day, Monaco. These guys have an exceptional path ahead of them. This is their first rung of the motorsport ladder in car racing. The F4 is where you step out of your karting roots into the world of car racing competition. It's a big jump. The best will rise to the top. The ones making progress will do so at their own pace. But in this year's competition in 2023, F4 UAE, the grid is exceptional. You genuinely can't look through this grid and look at one driver and say, you don't belong here. It's impossible. They have all earned their right to be here. They are all competitive. They are all fired up. And they all have what it takes to reach the top 3 for my money. All of them. That's hard to say. So the competitors are racing for an exceptional battle. Through to the front row of the grid. James Wharton in pole position. Hoping to get this charge forward from the front, but Yugo Ugachukwu is going to be right there. High-Tech really hoping for a solid race today. They've had their moments over the season, but they've never really had the dominant force that they've wanted to be. Arvid Lindblad has picked up a win. He won in race 3 at Dubai, and he's rather itching to get back there by the look of things. Must be tough for him going off the back row, but watch him go through the field like scissors through wet newspaper. The drivers make their way to the final positions on the grid for race 2, round 3 of the Formula 4 United Arab Emirates Championship 2023 here at Kuwait Motor Town, the latest cathedral of speed in the Middle East. And what an amazing facility it is. The cars are in position. We're ready for the start. The green flag is flying at the back of the grid, and we are ready to race for the second time out of 3. This week, round 3, race 2 is almost underway. Let's race at Kuwait. A brilliant start from James Walton. Tarpanen looks like he's got a good one. A good start from Bolduev. Bolduev's going to draw level. Bolduev will go side by side with Tarpanen. Yugachukwu holding on a second for the moment. Everybody else cleanly through turn 1. A bit of a sluggish start, I'm afraid, for the 33. That is not gone well at all for Georgi Janavsky. But down the straight, Walton's got a good lead. Tarpanen's going to go with him. Yugachukwu is going to have to be crowded out on the far side. Can Tarpanen get through on the inside at turn 2? Yugachukwu holds it round the outside. And that's good enough for P2 for the American. Good work from Yugachukwu. The XL twins are going strong at the front. That's Alex Bolduev and Noah Lyle. And Rinicella trying to come through. Several drivers hopping over the chicane. And there's someone in trouble right at the back. Yugachukwu going for Walton. Can't get through there. 2 or 3 wide in the middle of the field further back. And now we can see what happens. That's Kai Daryanani again. What a shame. This week has really been a bit of a write-off for him. But considering he has not done any car racing really at all before this season, he has jumped in from the world of sim racing. He was only 0.3 of a second off the pace of Dan Wells, of all people, on iRacing. And that was enough to alert Dan to the potential of Kai Daryanani. We got cars in trouble. Cars in trouble. Looks like Akshay Bora's got damage at the back, and so too has one of the R2 race Cavicels. I think that might be Lena Beulah. So problems on the first lap already for several competitors. Bora has dropped back. How has Victoria Blokina got on? It's Blokina in trouble, and we've got safety car. Safety car on track. So let's see what happened to Daryanani. Down at the back of the field, he's trying to make his way through. Look in the middle of the corkscrew. Cars going all over the place. But Daryanani has got a breakdown. I think that's problems with the car rather than problems with him or another incident. So Daryanani pulling to a close and just pulling off. Kai Daryanani, bitter frustration. You really have to feel for him. He's a real talent. And this is just not giving him what he deserves at the moment. And I don't care what anybody says, if you can go 0.3 of a second off the pace of a Asian Le Mans Series megastar like Dan Wells, then you are worthy of great talent. So Kai Daryanani, unfortunately out of the race. So now the fantastic competitors as they run through, weaving from side to side, trying to get heat and energy through the tyres and brakes still. Well, Kai Daryanani is still in the car. He hasn't got out of it. Maybe they can get him off to a safe place fairly quickly. As into the pits comes Victoria Blokina. And also in, I think that was Akshay Bora. Now they can get her out there on a fresh set of tyres and repaired. They don't have many sets of tyres through the course of a race weekend, of course. Now there's some great comments and questions coming in, which is great. Sam Kay has said, racing should be a minimum of 30 minutes. Why is it less time in F4? Well, you've got to remember that these guys, having come from the world of karting, are used to races lasting only about 12 to 13 minutes in the heats and about 20 minutes tops in the finals of race events in the European and World Championships. So you can't par too much on them too quickly. They have a lot to deal with in these cars. They have extreme G-forces. They have a lot of new technology to learn. It's a new style of driving. They've got to adapt everything. So don't leave them out there too long when they're so young. You've got to remember these guys are 15 to 18 years old. So it's a lot to put on them if you want trying to keep them out there for half an hour. So obviously the 23 minutes plus the 1 lap is part of an indication of just how their journey as racing drivers is developing. Once they get to Formula Regional, the time goes up to 28 minutes plus the additional lap. Don't pile on too much on these kids too soon. We've brought this up time and time again this campaign. This isn't like the world of soccer or cricket or tennis or rugby. They do all their training behind closed doors in those sports. Whoever sees the Premier League teams under the age of 17 live on television? You never see it. You do, however, in motorsport. As Kai Darianani runs in, not the way he wanted to end race 2, very similar to the way he ended race 1. So as the safety car completes lap 2 for everybody, Yuga Chukwu is behind James Wharton, then Tarpanen, Lyle, who has crept all the way to 4th place. Great start from the Australian. Rinicella in 5th from Boljuev, McIntyre, Klus, Ari, Al-Kubaisi and Bustamante. Kadashkedo is 12th from Beaton, Lee, Yamakoshi and Abkasava. And rounding out the top 20, it's Noah Stromsted, Sebastian Murray, Teofil Nal and Nicola Lacorte. How has everybody been making progress through the field? Well, Zachary David is still in 30th. Arvid Lindblad, though, has charged up from 37th to 31st. He really didn't need the safety car. He needed green racing so that he could make as much progress as possible. And for those of you who are considering why we're behind the safety car rather than stopping the race and giving them the maximum time out on the circuit, well, we tried that last time out. We tried that at the weekend on the Friday when it looked like it was going to take a while to clean up. We red flagged it to give them the maximum time out on the circuit possible, and the incidents kept happening. So the officials' attitude now is, well, every time there's an incident, we'll put the safety car out, we'll reduce your racing time, and you'll learn. You'll learn not to make these mistakes, which is a fair enough reason to go about it. It's a fair enough stance to take. Safety car is in this lap. So we're going to get about 16 minutes plus the additional lap left then. And now it's all down to the Australian in the lead, James Wharton, to hold the field at bay. Careful, guys, careful. Goodness me, they're having to get on the brakes quite heavy there because they know the race is going to be backed up now. You've got to be alert. You don't want to chastise these kids too early in their careers. They are only 15 years of age when they get into these cars. It's a lot to ask of any teenager. I certainly couldn't have been as good as these guys at the same age. And when you look through the field and there is not a single duff driver in the field at all, they are all incredibly exceptionally talented. But everybody learns at their own pace. Wharton trying to keep Ugachukwu guessing as to when he's going to hit the throttle. Safety car has pulled in, so he can go whenever he feels like it. It's up to him now to control the pace. The green flags wave, but it's up to James Wharton when he hits the throttle. He's got to time it right, and he's making them wait. He's really making them wait. Michael Rumer pointing out this looks like a Bottas restart. It's not far from it, is it? Here we go. And Wharton's gone for it. Down the straight, over the top of the crest. And James Wharton breaks into the final turn. A little bit of a lock-up from Tarpanen, but he's got Yuga Chukwu on the run. And now we're going to have some battles as we go green. Rinicella pulls level with Lyle, then tucks back behind him. He knows he can't overtake him before the line, but that's perfectly legal. He can get alongside him and hustle him. So now we go down to turn 2. This is when we're really going to get some battles as Klus duels with Al-Azhari. Al-Azhari's going to be in the slipstream. He'll have a chance to go for the move. And now Wharton's got all kinds of pressure from Yuga Chukwu. Yuga Chukwu trying to come the long way round. Lyle has got the inside from Rinicella. Yuga Chukwu going the long way round on Wharton. Tarpanen trying to tuck in and take on the American. Great duels everywhere. McIntyre going wheel to wheel with Boljuev. As they go down this corkscrew, Tarpanen's in a second. Tarpanen's got Yuga Chukwu. Took Tarpanen into second place. Little bit of a drift off the road there from one of the RHGPs, and it looked like the road in Carlin going off the road there of Dion Gowda as well. But now Tarpanen is into second place. He can take on his teammate James Wharton. And Tarpanen really wants to win his first race. He's seen his good friend from karting, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, finally pick up his first win yesterday in Formula Regional. Now he wants to win his first F4 race. And don't forget, this is only Tuka Tarpanen's 8th race in cars. He really wants to get his first win. He's got a great following back home in Finland. And they really want to see Tukka the Tiger on the top step of the podium. But James Wharton really needs to take some points out of Yuga Chukwu's advantage. And having Tarpanen between him and the American is actually really beneficial. If Wharton wins and Yuga Chukwu is third, he manages to slice that gap by 10 points. So it's really important for Wharton to keep Tarpanen between himself and Yuga Chukwu. And here's Venicella going for the bold move on Noah Lyle. Oh, Excelente into fourth position. Now Yuga Chukwu is going to try and take on Tarpanen again. Across the line. Tarpanen second, Yuga Chukwu third from Venicella and Lyle. Drivers, oh, problems in the final bend. Cars all over the road. A big incident. Several cars spinning. That's Rishon Rajiv who's gone around. So too in there is the 18. So that is the Santalock that's gone around of Luciano Morano. But now Tarpanen's having to defend big time from Yuga Chukwu. And off on the middle of the straight. Oh, contact. Two RHGP cars going off. And one of them ended up in the wall. Chaos. Absolute carnage here in race 2 at Kuwait Motor Town. And there's more problems further round as bits and pieces of shrapnel around the circuit are just depositing at the corkscrew. Now, who is that that's facing the wrong way? It looks like one of the high-techs from here, but it might be a Pinnacle. It's Hio Yamakoshi. It's Yamakoshi in the Pinnacle. So Yamakoshi, Abkasava, and an absolutely startled Jesse Kadashkado involved in that one. Let's look. So Yamakoshi goes for the move. And all of a sudden, there's drivers all over the road battling with each other. Yamakoshi's got nowhere to go, and he spears into the side of both of the RHGP cars. We were so lucky. That could have been a monstrous crash. So we had problems at the final turn. We've got a problem down at turn 2, and we got the safety car again. No surprise. So I'd quite like to know what happened at the final bend as well, because I was so busy looking at the timing screen and the battle for the lead that we missed several problems further back, because we had several cars going off. Let's have a look at that final turn. Now, who started it? A couple of drivers running wide, and there's the spin. It's Rajiv battling with Morano, and everybody else has just got to try and pick their way through, and I think Quintarelli went around as well. So, big slides, big problems, and now we've got a safety car. This is not good news for Yuga Chukwu at all. So the cars that drop their way back, Jack Beaton is coming to the pits, Yamakoshi, Kadashkado and Abkasava were the ones involved on the back straight. Absolute chaos. Now look, the safety car is all the way over to the left and gesturing to the drivers. What are you doing on that side of the road? The incident is there. Come to the inside line. Well, thank goodness, Hio Yamakoshi is okay. That is a scary incident when you are accelerating flat on the throttle, and there were 3 drivers battling in front of him. They're all jockeying for position, and Yamakoshi, bless him, was already making an overtake. So he had nowhere to go but into the wall, and that spat him off. So into the pits comes Abkasava. It's all hectic down at RHGP, and for all the wrong reasons. So a bit of a nasty scare there for Alex Abkasava, who has made it his way to the pits. Kadashkado is in the pits as well. Yamakoshi and Daryanani are out of the race. Now, interesting. Car 18 and car 31, turn 4, lap 1, under investigation for overtaking beyond track limits. That is 18 and 31, so that is Akshay Bora in the 31 car. And the 18, well, that is Luciano Morano. So those 2 drivers are now under investigation. Jesse Kadashkado leaves the pits. What a disaster for the Mexican. And look at all the stones that are flying out of the car now that he gets it back up to speed. He went way off there on the run to turn 2, didn't he? You've got a feel for Kadashkado, Abkasava and Yamakoshi. All 3 of them completely blameless in that incident. One of those racing incidents that you just can't get out of. Yamakoshi squeezed on the back straight. I'd like to have another look at it, actually. because there were 4 cars battling for position, and it was pretty scary stuff. So it would be good while we're under safety car to have one more look at that, because Yamakoshi really was blameless. I don't want anyone going around thinking that these drivers, they don't know what they're doing because they're getting into incidents. Well, you only have a split second to react in some of these moments. Don't be too hard on these guys too soon in their career, please. So the top 2, James Wharton in front of Tuka Tarpanen, Yugawaga Chukwu in front of Rinichella, Lyle McIntyre, then Valentin Klus is 7th, Hamder Al-Kubaisi is in 8th place, then Alex Bordjuev, Keanu Alazadi from Stromsted, Nile and Bustamante. Fedi Rafai in 14th place, and in 15th is Sebastian Murray. There is the wreckage being cleared. Let's see how it happened. Now, this is the incident at the final turn. Let's look. Gauda's gone wide. Now watch. There, coming into shot come Rajiv and Morano, and a spin too for one of the RSGP cars. I would guess that that is Zachary David, in fact. And now watch, in the background. Car moves over, other car responds, Yamakoshi's left with nowhere to go. He spears right in front of the RSGP pair, who are desperately trying to get out of the way. There's nothing you can do at that speed. Nothing at all. 3 victims of a blameless incident. I'm afraid none of those 3 drivers deserve to be there, and you can't throw the book at any of them. It's one of those rare moments where people want to point the finger, and I'm afraid none of the 3 of them deserve that, and none of the 3 of them were the cause of it. Long faces at PHM, desperately trying to work their way forwards. And there is the number 12, Alex Abkasava, getting himself up to speed. Now his race effectively restarts here. So let's see how it all continues on the restart. It's not going to happen just yet because the safety car is still out on track with lights ablaze. And that's because the Bobcat is still getting back to its original reset position, having recovered Hiryu Yamakoshi's car. Renz Jans points out that was almost the Brazil 1994 crash in F1 between Irvine, Brundle, Verstappen. It's a very good point, actually. It was very similar to that. Incidents at turn 20 will be investigated after the race. That's the spin between Rajiv, Morano and David, with so many other drivers having to take avoiding action. So that's going to be investigated later. So let's see how it all goes on the restart. I have a feeling that the incident down the drag strip straight is also going to be investigated after the race. Indeed, it's just come up on the screen. Incidents before turn 2, lap 5, will be investigated after the race. We're now on lap 8, and I think this is the race lap where we're going to get a restart. Because as you can see, it looks as though all the hard work has been done. Wharton in front of Tarpanen, Yuga Chukwu, Rinichella and Lyle. Then McIntyre, Klus, Al-Kubaisi, Bordjuev and Alazadi in the top 10. Still some good chances of decent points here for McIntyre, for Bordjuev and for Alazadi. Al-Kubaisi is finally back in the top 10 where she belongs. She's had a really miserable first 2 weekends. I say that because last year she was winning races when she was with the Prema team. She dominated at Yas Marina in one of the races. She found out she'd got a penalty and went, right, I'm going to pull away as fast as I possibly can, and got a lead up of 10 seconds, would you believe? Which is just as well, because she had 2 penalties to take. I think she won the race by 10.7 seconds, so only ended up winning the race by 7/10 of a second. Look how close to the safety car Wharton's going. He wants this race to get restarted, that's the thing. He wants to restart. And is this going to be the lap when it happens? Yes, it is. Safety car in at the end of this lap. So the cars are trying to catch up to the tail end of the field. You've got to be so careful to react to these kind of things. But now Wharton has backed up the pack once again. The safety car is going around, leaving them to it. So this is now all on Wharton again. And now he's got a little bit of a safety buffer with Tuka Tarpanen there in second. The Yazheat Racing team have got a double points finish potential here for Hamda Al-Kubaisi and Kiano Al-Azadi. They are one of the home teams in the F4 UAE Championship. And now, there, Wharton's gone for it. Wharton's gone for it. So now he needs to step on it. And this is a fairy tale result for the moment for Wharton. He really could do with this. Well, ultimately, we'd do with staying where he is and Ugachukwu falling out of the points. But that isn't likely. Ugachukwu been steady and consistent throughout this season. James Wharton going for win number 2 over the course of a very intense season. And here we go, out of the final turn, and we are green, 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 green. We're racing again at Kuwait Motor Town, 3 minutes to go. So the F4 UAE drivers really want to put on a bit of a show as they run down to turn 2. Look at Lindblad really starting to get his elbows out. He wants to charge forward. Lindblad making up a couple of places. So as they come down towards turn 2, Wharton is trying to shake off Tarpanen. Tarpanen's got Ugachukwu behind him. Tarpanen threatening for a move, and so too is Lyle behind Renicella. Big lock-up for Noah Lyle. Klus is going to go side by side with McIntyre. No problems there. So it's 1 and 2 for the Mumbai Falcons as they drop down the corkscrew. Ugachukwu's getting racy. Tarpanen twitches on the curbs. And off the road goes one of the BHMs. That is the 75 of Noah Stromstead. He rejoins in front of Teofil Nile. Working the tyres. You've got to be very careful not to lock up. Some good battles all the way round. But Wharton still hangs on here in front of Tarpanen and Ugachukwu. Through they come. The 2 Ferrari Young Gun Juniors, James Wharton and Tuka Tarpanen, are 1 and 2. Yuga Ugachukwu in 3rd place. It was part of the McLaren F1 Junior program. In 3rd place. Then Renicella, then Lyle, McIntyre, Klus, Al-Kubaisi, Bolduev and Al-Azadi. No changes to the top 10 so far. You've got to pace yourself here. Actually, I think there has been a change. I think Al-Kubaisi has now got Al-Azadi right behind, and there's the move. Up on the inside from Stromstead. Stromstead going for the move on Alex Bolduev. So Stromstead is trying to get himself into the points here. Working hard to get some points home. Stromstead in front, and here comes Teofil now, the Frenchman, who's had a very unfortunate start to this week. But look, Stromstead is trying to fend off. Big lock-up up the inside from Bolduev, and they drift wide. And that's enough for Nile to get through. And it's also enough for Bianca Bustamante to get through as well. 1 place away from the points. Drivers really taking some risks. We've got 2 laps to go by my maths. As Bustamante holds on in front of Bolduev and Stromstead. Stromstead's going to try again. And now Tarpanen's going for the move on Wharton. Oh, they nearly bang wheels. Tarpanen is absolutely relentless. Tuka Tarpanen takes the lead. But Wharton's going to try and come back at him. Can he get through? Careful, boys. Tarpanen's going to drift out wide. Wharton's going to have a chance on the switcheroo. Ugachukwu's going to be on them like a lead brick. And Rinicella's caught them now as well. 4 drivers gunning for the victory. Tarpanen takes the lead. Oh my goodness. Now that was brave from Tuka Tarpanen. They almost rub wheels, and that is Akshay Bora. Now Akshay Bora should be able to get that started, but he's got a puncture by the look of it. He's got a left rear puncture. So Akshay Bora can get that going again. I don't think we'll have a safety car, but what we are going to have is Akshay Bora not scoring points this time. So through they come again. And the Tiger, Tuka Tarpanen, has not just taken the lead, he's stretched away from Wharton and Ugachukwu. Not good news for the Australian, brilliant news for the Flying Finn. So they come through once again, through 19. Up the crest, and they'll drop down the hill to the braking zone for 20. Time has run down to 0, so at the end of this lap, we'll get the last lap board. Wharton, no longer your leader. Tarpanen is now in front. And this is finally going to be Tuka Tarpanen's chance to take a first win in F4 UAE. He's got 1 lap to go, and he knows he's got the best chance he's ever going to get. Tuka Tarpanen leads into the last lap. Wharton in second. Third is Ugachukwu. This is the moment where Finland can now declare their next big superstar. Whoa, in the background. Lyle dueling with Valentin Klus, and Klus gets through. Lyle very nearly loses the back of the car completely. And now Ogachukwu trying to go the long way round Wharton. Wharton being as respectful as he dares, but Ogachukwu runs off the road and he's got into second. Now that could get investigated. So Ogachukwu wobbling over the curbs and Wharton's going to get through anyway. Wharton's getting through regardless. Diving on the inside and Rinicella's trying to stick his nose in. Brilliant racing. Rinicella round the outside of Ogachukwu. Oh, brilliant. The Italian has knocked him off the podium. Rinicella pulls off a stunning move at the hairpin. Third position for the Italian. That was magic. And look at Ogachukwu, the car is completely unsettled. He's feeling the pressure for the first time really this season. Ogachukwu makes the mistake and drops to fourth. It's going to be Tarpanen, Wharton and Rinicella on the podium. Brilliant racing from Valerio Rinicella. Tough defensive tactics from James Wharton, but the man up front is able to come of age. Ever since Angeville 2019 in the European Karting Championships, we knew this boy was special. We knew he was going to be world class. He won the World Junior Championship a year later. He won the World Senior Championship the year after that. And here he is in 2023, coming of age. Tukka the Tiger, Tukka Tarpanen wins in Q8. There at last, and he is ecstatic. To right, Tukka Tarpanen, welcome to the winner's circle. Great racing all the way through the field. Lindblad did his best, but he can only make it back to P17. P16 at the line, in fact. But Tukka Tarpanen makes his mark. James Wharton overtook his teammate fairly quickly. I don't think he'll be too happy with the way he lost the win. But Tukka Tarpanen, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the first of many. I promise you that. Remember where you were. Tukka Tarpanen came to victory. And he utterly, utterly deserves it. He has grown so far in such a short space of time. From a quiet, shy kid in the world of karting, all the way up through the ladder. And what an incredible legacy he is starting to build. The Ferrari Junior, now everybody knows his name. Tukka Tarpanen, welcome to the winner's circle. Great job, great job. to come of age. Ever since Angeville 2019 in the European Karting Championships, we knew that is a cut to come of age. Ever since Angeville 2019
no,
in the
it's not cricket, but it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not
title. Don't count him out yet. James Wharton, second place, but crucially, ahead of Ugachukwu. He's catching him. That's the key factor here. But Tukka Tarpanen, Finland's next great racing legend. He's written all the seeds and all of the right things to do in his junior career to work his way to this point. He's just going to keep on climbing. Rinicella and Wharton take solid podium finishes, but Tukka, at last, he's done it. And not only does he take the winner's trophy, he takes the rookie winner's trophy as well. A solid performance from Tukka Tarpanen. That will be a huge weight of expectation off his back. Now he's a winner. No more pressure. Head down and go for it. Well done, Tukka. So, Ugachukwu off the podium, which is a very unusual sight in 2023 in F4 UAE. Tarpanen's a winner. Wharton is catching up with the championship leader, and Rinicella is still in this fight. There's one race to go this afternoon, and Tukka Tarpanen could well just open the floodgates and keep on winning. I'm Jake Sanson. Thank you very much for being with me. We've got one more race to come from F4 UAE this afternoon. Join us then.
it's me. And no, it's not cricket, but it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps.